I'll never forget when Brianna walked through the doors at Care House. This was a while ago. She came with her mom, and she had come to Care House because there was a report that was due in her literature class at a local high school here. They had asked her to write a poem, and according to Brianna, she'd struggled with what kind of poem she was going to write. She wanted to get a good grade, but at the same time she wanted to write a poem that meant something. She wrote a poem, and the title was My So-Called Daddy. And it was obviously pretty concerning for the literature teacher that was teaching that class to read. It was cryptic, but it basically told the story of having a daddy that was not a daddy that you and I maybe had, wasn't a daddy that cared for her the way that he should, actually had spent years molesting her.
We were living the American dream. I have a wonderful family, a beautiful home. Life was good until child abuse happened.
When he first came in for therapy, he was aggressive, he was withdrawn, he was having nightmares, and he was really easily startled.
Lupe was sexually abused by her mother's boyfriend who used to live with them. I have been working with Lupe for a while, providing individual therapy. Turns out that Lupe has a younger playmate named Carmen. Lupe has been telling Carmen about coming to Care House, what happened to her, how she was getting help, her family was getting help. And Carmen told Lupe that she was also sexually abused.
Janie was 3 years old when she started coming here to see me for therapy. She was very quiet and withdrawn after having witnessed a significant amount of violence in her home. She was even left alone in the aftermath of a horrifying crime scene. Our therapy sessions initially consisted of a lot of her whispering, hiding, wanting me to hide. We actually did a lot of sessions underneath the table.
The story starts with Brianna in that she was a 4th grader and she was scheduled to go just see her dad for the summer on visitation. They were divorced. She was leaving the state, and when Mom got to the airport to drop her off, Dad was shoving paperwork in front of Mom saying, "I need you to sign this for the housing. She's only allowed to stay in my housing if you sign this paperwork." And at the end of the summer, she made the plane arrangements to come get Brianna from the other state, and was told by Dad, "You signed away custody of me 4 months ago, and I've taken it to the courthouse. It's endorsed. I have physical, legal, sole custody of Brianna." From grade 4 and through those 2 grades in 5th grade, he was molesting her.
My husband, who is an attorney, informed me that he would be taking Justice to Care House for an interview so that Justice could tell his side, so that Justice could tell what had happened.
After Anthony began working through what happened to him in therapy, he just seemed to be lighter, physically even. He smiled more, he was relaxed, he even regained his creativity. In fact, in one of the sessions, he discussed his abuse in epic terms of good versus evil, in which he created a magical land where he and his siblings were the forces of good, and they band together to defeat the triad of evil, as he called it, that was his brother, the person who had abused his brother, and a neighborhood bully.
Through the information then provided to me by Lupe, I was able to contact the authorities and facilitate for Carmen and her family so that Carmen could come to Care House to be interviewed. She did come. She disclosed actually that she was raped on 2 occasions by her half-brother.
She liked to say my name, just not any questions or anything after that as we were walking back to start our therapy session. Almost as if she was just checking that she was here and she was safe. She would just say it, and so after a while I started saying her name back to her, and it became a little joke. And she really got it as young as she was. And so we'd walk down the hall and she'd say, "Kelly," and I'd say Janie, and she'd say Kelly, and I'd say Janie. And she was here with us for quite a long time due to the nature of what she had witnessed, and also because of her involvement in the criminal justice system.
She had a dermatological condition that gave her little bumps on her knees and her elbows, and he took her to the doctor, and the doctor gave her some cream and said, this is for, the rash that you have on your knees and elbows. About a week later, Brianna tells us her dad came to her and said, the doctor called and he wants me to make sure that you don't have any of these bumps on your genitals. And he told me to videotape you each week and submit the videotape to him to analyze and make sure. She believed him. That's her dad. She would be in different positions that he told her she had to be in. She remembers minutes, long minutes of him filming her. And that led to other conversations that he said he was instructed to have with her from the doctor. And things that he was supposed to do to her genitals with objects and pictures that he needed to take of her. Brianna tells me when I interviewed her that the reason that she didn't tell was because her mom got her back. She knew she would never go again. And her only siblings were her older brothers from his first marriage, and she loved those boys and would do anything to keep the relationship with her brothers.
I think about that little boy who abused my son, and I worry about the other children that he may have abused. And I am just so sorry that he didn't have a care house to help him, like Care House helped me and my family.
Anthony's still continuing to work through the impact of what happened to him and all the abuse, and his family is working very hard to pick up all the pieces. Anthony and his parents really are real-life heroes and survivors.
At the time, she had the mind to write down the dates of the rape and put them inside her piggy bank. Her family now understands how the dynamics of the sexual abuse.
Her drawings in therapy showed what she had experienced, but I think she learned some skills here about how to deal with that, and she left looking forward to starting school.
Brianna's case ended here inside of a courtroom. The criminal justice system was used and convicted her father of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, and he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. I was with Brianna that last day in trial as I testified that day. When I said goodbye to her, she hugged me, and when she hugged me, she whispered in my ear, "You were my lifesaver." And I said to her, "No, Brianna, you saved your own life." And she said, "Yeah, but you helped." And that's what Care House did for Brianna.